Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nibble Urban Survivor. I'm your host, Nick Catelli. Hope you're having a good month, good day, good year, good something. We had a good show today. Lots of topics to cover. But before we do, fake digital drum band, lead us in. I couldn't get there. Couldn't sing that high. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Nibble Urban Survivor. I'm your host, Nick Catelli. A lot of topics today because we got a lot of submissions this last week on how to survive stuff. You know, usually we get like a handful or a dozen submissions, but this time, look at this. We got 47 submissions. So I was looking through them, and I felt bad because I didn't want to just like pick one. So we're going to do like a whole bunch today. We're kicking it up a notch, I guess. Also, a couple of other notes. I have an awful cold that I'm getting over. So you're probably going to hear me like sniffle a lot like during the show. Just so you know, I'm not snorting cocaine. This is just me snorting the snot out of my nose to keep talking. And I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, well, why don't you just record it and edit all of like the snottiness out of the show? Guys, I got to get this episode out. Like, I don't have 3 months to, edit out all of the snorting and the sniffing. So you're going to hear a lot of that today. Okay? Just warning you. All right? It's terrible. I hate having a cold, especially in the summer. So that's a heads up. But our first topic here today comes in from someone named Beth. And Beth writes, Nick, COVID is officially over. Yippee! She spelled yippee, by the way, Y-I-P-P-Y, which I don't think that's correct. I think it's Y-I-P-P-I-E. I don't know. We have all this technology and people, it's funny. We have like the most advanced technology on the planet with like Google and spell checking and grammar check. But, the computers, they still just can't get the words right, can they? That's how I know we would win in a war against the computer. Because if they can't get our grammar right, how do you think they could ever overthrow us? I don't know if James Cameron ever thought about that with Terminator 2, because they don't acknowledge that, like in Terminator 2, like when they're in the car and Arnold is explaining like what happened and how they had Judgment Day, they should have added in like one line where Arnold was like, yeah, and then Skynet knew how to correct grammar. And then it became self-aware because the grammar was the last thing they needed to so I don't know. Maybe if they'll have like a new director's cut and they'll put that line of dialogue in there. If they did, copyright Nick Catelli 2021. So Beth writes, COVID is over. Yippee. That is correct. COVID is over. If you didn't know, here in the city of Angels, Los Angeles, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. You can walk around freely. I think people are vaccinated and they're giving away money like crazy. They're having a vaccine, I guess like lotteries. So right now somebody could win $1.5 million if they just got a vaccine shot. So I'm very happy I got a vaccine shot. So you never know, I might win $1.5 million. And if I do, I'm taking myself out to Subway for a delicious $7 foot-long meatball Parmigiano sub with a taste of Italy right here in your local Subway shop. But getting back to Beth, Beth says, Nick, COVID is over, yippee, but they want me to go back into the office, and I'm not ready for that. And I get that because I just read this thing on LinkedIn. And yes, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm actually one of the assholes on LinkedIn who I will post content that should probably be like on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, but I put it on LinkedIn and it really pisses people off. Like I post this show on LinkedIn all the time and it probably really annoys people. And I even had someone call me out one time on LinkedIn. They're like, this kind of content, this isn't for LinkedIn. This is for Facebook. And I was just like, whatevs, blocked you. But it's true that I read on LinkedIn that, obviously people are going back to work. It's hard to get people to go back to work right now because people are still getting like tons of money from unemployment. The government is just giving money away. Like a used car salesman who's just giving deals away on 1984 Honda Accords. And so they're trying to entice people to get back to work and get back into the office. All right. But a lot of people now are actually quitting their jobs because, number one, they don't want to go back into the office. Or number two, they said that right now, statistically, a lot of people have the confidence that they know they can go out and find a better job. So I guess what had happened here is that working from home had given them the confidence that they're like, man, wow, now that I'm working at home by myself, safe environment, fun environment, positive environment. I don't have to deal with the stress of idiot coworkers or want to be funny office people, which we've talked about on this show. So they've shown with a community college Harvard study that people are gaining more confidence working from home and are quitting their jobs because now they believe in themselves that they can go out and get a better job. And so I think that's, first of all, I think that's awesome. I think that's amazing because let's be honest, guys, like companies and offices, they're really just like killing the mojo. And I blame that on 2008 because I remember I worked in an office around 2008. And before 2008, the whole bank crash, whatever, house mortgage thing, companies were like giving out bonuses and raises and the employees really had a lot of power, right? But then 2008 happened. And from there on forward, we had this weird culture where companies were like, you should just be lucky to have a job. And companies were, not giving people, because I remember like I got stiffed on bonuses and promotions and raises. And my boss, who was just a mean old dickhead, was like, you people should just be happy that you have a job. I kid you not. When 2008 happened, my boss at the Federal Home Loan Bank of Chicago, yeah, I said it, called us into an office, showed us some video, and literally just said that people are so desperate for work right now, anybody in this room could be replaced, and I will replace any of you, and you should all be happy that you get to work here still during like a financial crisis. And I just wanted to be like, out loud, and I was like, fuck you, you fucking asshole. But internal, but out loud, I was like, okay, well, yeah. But then remember that culture never really went away, right? We still had all these companies who were like, you should just be lucky to have this job. That's why we can pay you shitty pay and get away with not giving you a bonus. But yet the CEO, gets his own personal driver and a Porsche. So COVID happens. People now are working from home. And now that they're out of that toxic environment and the companies need workers because, obviously a lot of people went on unemployment and the government really helped out. They gave a lot of money, because, unemployment usually don't get a lot of money, right? They give you enough money to be able to buy like a sack of fruit, maybe a couple of bottles of water, and maybe like $5 towards your like electric bill / rent / gas bill / whatever. But now the government's taking care of unemployed people, right? And so now people have this attitude where they're like, well, I don't have to go right back to work right now because I'm getting good money from the government. I'm spending it into the economy so I can take my time when looking for a new job. And so the companies now have lost that power they had over people. And I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing because, corporate America had this like such an asshole move of just like, yeah, man, you got to be happy to be here. Now they're getting desperate because they need people to work there. And I've seen tons of things. Like I've seen like I still think McDonald's is offering like a $500 signing bonus to work at a McDonald's. That's ridiculous. But they're giving all these incentives for people to come work at their company. And I think that's great. So I would say to Beth on how to survive having to go back to the office after COVID is I would sit down and I would really think about maybe you don't have to go back, okay? Because you have the leverage. Because going into an office is kind of the stupidest thing in the world, right? Because when you really, really, really think about it, there are a lot of jobs, unless you work like in a factory, you assemble something or whatever, but there's a lot of office jobs, where you're just sitting at a computer. You can do that anywhere on the planet. So I don't understand why people need to come into the office to work, and it's just because so they can see you working. Okay, it's the same thing like with a funeral, like when they lay the body out. You don't need to lay the body out so everybody can come see the body. I feel like the only reason they do that is so people can just prove that this person actually died, and it's not like a whole like insurance, like fake my death, collect on the money kind of scheme, right? Same thing for an office, So I would say to Beth on how to survive going back to the office, I would just tell your office that you got a couple of offers from other companies and they said you can work from home. They're going to give you more money and more technology, new MacBook, whatever. And here's the thing, just make up the company. It's a startup company. Hire someone just to be in charge of that startup company. Make the website. I actually think we've talked about this on my show before. I forget what episode it was. But Beth, my solution is go back to my old episode on, I think, how to survive getting a job. I forget which one it is. But I would just use that leverage because right now the employees have all of the power where you can kind of pick and choose where you want to go right now because everybody's desperate for employees. So if your company is bullying you into coming back to the office and they're like, man, you could lose your job if you don't come back, you give them a big old fuck you and you find something better because that's what everybody's doing right now, So I guess that's kind of my solution there is just find something better. There's always something better. And right now the employees have all of the power. So go find something better. Make more money. Bada boom, bada bing, bada bing, right? All right, moving on. This one comes in from someone named Richard. Richard says, Nick, my neighbor's kids called the cops on him for making him eat his vegetables. So the kid, and I've heard of these stories before. We'll talk about a story here in a second, but I guess he's saying the kid called the cops. I would assume the cops came over and were like, eat your fucking broccoli, kid. Don't ever call us again. I would assume this is probably like a rich, entitled LA kid if I had to assume this, right? But, oh man, that's snot. That cold snot. Ugh. So I actually looked this up, right? Because this is a thing. And I read there was a news story that actually happened, I think this week. I don't know where it was. But a police office is giving an 11-year-old boy a medal for turning his dad in for selling drugs. And it wasn't, I don't believe it was like hard drugs. Like he wasn't like making meth, Breaking Bad style, or selling cocaine or heroin. I think he was just selling weed. Because when I saw the picture, it just showed like a table full of like bags of marijuana, which I've seen that before in any cannabis store in the state of California. So I was like blown away because like a little kid, I get it. Like if you have like a 5-year-old kid, like I get it. And they're like, Dad, I don't think you're supposed to sell drugs. Do I need to call the police? Because, they learn this stuff at school and the teachers are like, all right, kids, if your parents are, selling drugs for money, you need to call 911. I get that. Okay, personally, I don't think teachers should butt in on small businesses. As parents, like we don't butt in on your careers really, unless you're doing something really bad or we just don't like how you're treating our kid. But I beg you, teachers, don't teach kids to snitch out their parents for bad stuff. And here's the thing too, like if this was like a little kid, I would kind of have a little like, okay, well, this little kid, he doesn't really know what he's doing. But this was like an 11-year-old boy. Okay, like this is a kid who knows what he's doing, who had intent. I guarantee he like tried to blackmail Dad and was like, Dad, cut me in on some of these weed sales. And Dad was like, you're a stupid kid. Go grow your own marijuana and sell it. And then the kid was like, fuck you, I'm going to turn you into the cops, which that's kind of a dick move. So I don't know why the police are giving this kid an award because any dad would be like, this kid just deserves like a good old something, a punishment of, take his Nintendo Wii away or what is it now, the Nintendo Switch. But I guess how do you survive your kids snitching on you? Okay. And I think the thing to do that is you kind of have to do it in the same way that you teach a dog not to bite you when they're a puppy. So if you didn't know, I've raised 2 championship boxers. Okay, they were champions. Did they win medals or awards? No. Did I go out and just buy them trophies to display and make up that lie to tell people? Yes. But when they're young, they want to nip you and they want to bite you and they want to hurt you. And they don't know any better. They're little puppies. They're little kids. But every time they would bite me, I would act like I was in great pain. So they knew not to do it again. And I kid you not, that was the best thing. Where I've seen people who like spray the dogs and like shock the dogs and do all this stupid like dumb shit. I just act like they're killing me, over the top killing me. And it works because it scares the shit out of them that, oh my God, my master is going to die. I'm never going to bite him again. Same tactic you would want to use for a little kid. And if you don't want your kids to snitch on you, number one, you need to train them at an early age that it really, really hurts you. And I'll give you an example because little kids will do this, right? And my son's done this to me. He'll come to me and he'll be like, gummy bears, gummy bears. And I'm like, no. No more gummy bears. You've had enough gummy bears. And then he gets mad and he goes to my wife and he tells on me and he says, Daddy won't give me gummy bears, gummy bears. And when he does that, I pretend that I'm having a heart attack and fall on the floor. And I said, son, you're giving Daddy a heart attack because you're snitching out Daddy right now to Mommy and you're literally killing him. Do you want Daddy to die because you snitched him out? And then my son would be like, no. And I said, okay. Well, then don't ever snitch out Daddy ever again. Okay? And I think that's the best way to do it. Obviously there's some people out there who get real heart attacks due to stress and panic attacks. I get that. Don't be offended by that. But, fake a heart attack. Fake, if you don't want to go that extreme to freak out your kid, maybe just act like you lose the ability to pick up stuff or, you can't use your legs or, maybe you fall and hit your head or something like that. And if you want to do that, the fall and hit your head thing, be smart about it. I would go out and, take a few stunt classes here in Los Angeles, learn how to fall, learn how to hit your head. If you can, find those stuntmen that were in the movie Home Alone because they did a really amazing job of getting hurt. Also, you might want to hire a special effects latex makeup artist so that, when your kid's telling on you to the other parent, you can slap on a piece of latex to your forehead to make it look like a big old bloody gushing cut from how you fell. So it really, really freaks your kid out and it really, really trains them not to snitch you out. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Kind of a barbaric method, because it's the same method I would use, with a puppy, but it works. It gets results. So how do you survive your kid not snitching you out? Solution one is you just scare the living shit out of them that whenever they snitch on you, it causes you great deals of pain and even bloody gushes. And I kid you, I think after a couple of times of that, I think that'll train them not to ever snitch you out, right? Unless you're mean to your kid. If you're mean to your kid, you should go to jail. You're a fucking asshole. And maybe you deserve it. So, that's another thing. Solution number two is this. If you don't want to get snitched out, is you need to take a page out of organized crime and how the mafia does it. Okay? Because here's the thing. Nobody really ever snitches the mob out because the mob will make you in on the deal. So let's go back to the solution of this kid who ran it out his dad, because his dad was selling marijuana. If I was the dad and I was going to be smart, here's what I would do is I would bring the kid in and put him on the payroll. I wouldn't make him a drug dealer or anything like that, but I'd make him a CFO of the drug company. He's not really dealing the drugs, but he's getting paid from the profits from the drugs, right? So he's now part of the drug operation. And you just let him know. It's look, kid, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm cutting you in on this, and I'm giving you a taste of my marijuana profits, okay? So you're on the books now for this. So if you snitch me out, you tell anybody about this. Not only do I get arrested, but you're going down with me because now we're in this together. And that's what the dad should have done. He should have brought the son in on the marijuana business. So then if the kid snitches him out, the kid is only snitching himself out because now, there's a paper trail that ties the kid to the profit sales from the marijuana. So now you're both going to jail. And that's how the mob would do it because that's how you can never go to the cops or the FBI or anything because you've also committed a crime. Yes, I'm committing a crime by selling the drugs, but now you are also committing that same crime because you are collecting money from those drugs, okay? I think the positive note on this, it's a really good father-son bonding thing. Some of the greatest businesses on the planet were started usually by a father and son. And here's the thing, too. If you're selling marijuana and you think your son's going to, snitch you out, move to a city or state where it's legal to sell drugs like marijuana, Like, I don't know if drugs are legal to sell, let's say like in Milwaukee, right? Milwaukee, is that in Wisconsin? I think it's in Wisconsin, right? Yeah, I don't know. Just move to California, move to Colorado. I think marijuana is legal in like Illinois and Missouri now. No, not Missouri, but I think Illinois. Move to one of those places, to avoid your kids snitching you out. So I guess how to survive your kid not snitching you out for when you're selling drugs is move to a place where it's legal to sell drugs. Also bring your kid in on it so that if he snitches you out, if you go to jail, you take him with you. And then you both go to jail, right? I think it's a great solution. I think it's a great solution. Perfect, right? All right, let's keep going on. This next one, this comes in from Winston. And Winston says, Nick, how do I survive not having someone air my dirty laundry at my funeral? And that's interesting. And he sent me this article. There's an article link he sent with it. He sent me like research with it, which I thought was really funny. He's like, how do I do this? Here's some research, what I saw on this. And I clicked on the link. And it was this news story that, if you didn't know this, in the country of Australia, which I love Australia, never been to Australia. I have family in Australia. But in the country of Australia, at your funeral, you can hire someone, and I think they called them like a snitcher or something, but you literally hire someone to show up at your funeral and air like all of your secrets. Like if you wanted to wait to tell like your kid that you weren't really his father, you can hire this guy that when you're being buried and they're like covering your body with dirt in your casket, he will just randomly show up and tell everyone your dirty secrets or whatever that you wanted to share, I guess, with your loved ones. Okay. I feel like that if you do hire this person, maybe you didn't love your loved ones because you're telling them all of these things. But that's like a thing in Australia. Like, this is a big business. To be honest, I was really surprised. I've never heard of this before because I feel like, especially in Los Angeles, California, that this would be like a booming industry. So I'm going to say this right now, guys, because I'll do this as like a side gig. And this could be an app idea too. I know we're going a little off topic, but when my business brain gets working, okay, I follow the thought all the way through. But there should be an app. You know how there's like a Wags, like walking dogs, or there's Uber or Lyft or whatever. There's an app for everything now, right? There should be an app where you can like type out all of your, secrets that you don't want your family to know until after you've moved on in life to the other world. And then you just hire someone via the app, and then they get like the list of stuff they're supposed to say. And then the app, indicates to that person when you have passed away and when you find out when the funeral is, and then you show up and you air the grievances or the secrets or whatever. What a great business. God, the Australians, they're just like years, centuries ahead of us when it comes to funeral culture. So, I mean, how do you survive not having someone air your dirty laundry at your funeral? Because people will do that. People will do that. I've been at a funeral where people will just like let out your secrets, right? It's kind of a dick move. Okay, because you're dead, so you can't stand up for yourself. But someone will like stand up at the wedding and be like, "I loved him, and I'm actually really your mother, and we were lovers." And then the wife is like, "Oh my God, he had a secret lover, and I never knew." You don't want that to happen, right? Because at funerals, people are supposed to be having like a joy. They talk about like the good things about you, and it should be a celebration of life. I honestly, I really do believe that. But it's not always like that. It turns out people are like airing your dirty laundry or your lies. Okay. So how do you avoid that happening? Well, I think solution one is, number one, don't have a funeral. Okay. Don't have anything. Don't let people gather and talk about you. Don't do nothing. My advice to you is just go out there, hire a person, and this could be another option on that app. Like there's option one where like you hire someone to come and like air your grievances and dirty laundry. Option two could be is you just hire someone, a random person, and you just tell them, hey, I'm going to be charred Go pick up my ashes, dump them here. Boom. Don't let anyone know that it happened. Okay? Because I feel like that's the best way to avoid it, is just to not have a funeral. Now, if you really want to avoid it, you should probably go see a lawyer. And when you do, like, tying up your business or your loose ends or your will, you should put it in your will that if any of your close family members try to have a funeral for you or a wake or whatever, they can be held liable for up to $1 million. And I would probably have that $1 million go to like a charity or something like that, Boys and Girls Club or something like that, really go to a really profitable thing. It's kind of like what you see on Facebook now. People are like, don't give me a birthday gift. Donate some money to this charity. Whereas, and I'm not really there yet as like a nice person. I usually just want you to give me the money so I can spend it on me because I'm the charity. But that's what you do. You go to a lawyer, you write out your will, and you have all your family members there that you think will try to throw you a funeral. You just have them sign that contract and say, I swear to the law offices of Kroger, and Steinman that if you throw me a funeral, I will make you pay $1 million to the Boys and Girls Club or Feed It America or Putting Shoes on Kids, whatever, nonprofit organization. And I kid you not, because remember, money at the end of the day trumps everything, right? Money talks. If someone walked up to you and was like, I'll give you $1 million not to throw me a funeral, you'd probably be like, dude, done. Or I'll give you $1 million to put my ashes in this urn and dump it in a river. Done. I know people that do it for like a hot sandwich. Okay. So how do you survive not letting people air your grievances out at your funeral and turning it into like the shit show? Because people will do that. Is number one, like we just said, don't have a funeral. Don't have a funeral. Make a legal contract that if they try to throw a funeral, they have to pay $1 million or even more. I would say economically, if the person you're living with is a billionaire, $1 million to them, that's like 50 cents, right? So maybe $1 trillion to them. You guys get it on an economic scale. I can't do all the currencies right now. Like euros and dollars and Canadian bucks and Italian monies and diamond rubles. I can't do it all. But if you Google it, you can figure it out. Okay? So that's how you survive not letting your funeral turn into literally like everyone's just shitting on you, which is terrible. Terrible. All right, last one is, and this is a good one. This one comes in from someone named Tim. Tim writes, Nick, how do I survive my friend's kids? And he wrote like a big, long essay. So, and I read this. I'm just going to summarize it. So it looks like what happened here with Tim. Tim's a single guy, lives by himself, says he lives a clean lifestyle. I don't know what that means. I would assume that means he's got like nice furniture. And he does. He says like, he actually said that this is really funny, that the total amount of all of his furniture and appliances is somewhere near the six figures. So I guess he has like $1 million worth of stuff wherever he lives, like couches and televisions and things like that. Okay. He's single, doesn't have kids. He says he has friends that have kids. And now when he hangs out with his friends, his kids come over, not his kids, but his friends' kids come over and will destroy his stuff, right? And that happens. That happens, right? Because like when you have a friend and they have kids, when you invite them over to your house for like a barbecue or to have a drink or something, sometimes they bring their kids. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? That's okay. You bring your kids, whatever. But not all kids are well behaved. And what they'll do is they'll come in and they will just destroy your house, And he comes in, he lists out the damages here. They said that they had like muddy shoes on the couch. He had to get it shampooed. They knocked over a small 30-inch plasma screen TV that was in the guest room, cracked the screen, broke it. So he said his friend's kids are a nightmare, and they're a tornado, and his friends do nothing to like tame them or teach them how to respect other people's property. And that is a thing. And I'm a parent, And I'm going to say that from my perspective, like with my kid, if we go to somebody else's house, I teach him to like respect their stuff. Don't go into their house and like destroy things. Don't treat their house like it's your own house. Now if we're in a hotel room, that's a whole different story. Okay. And we'll get to that solution here in a second, because that's a good solution. We're going to talk about that. So, but that does suck, because you have like little kids running around who are probably like toddlers, kindergartners, whatever, and they're destroying your TV and your couch and all of your $1 million appliances. And what do you do about that? There's nothing you can do, because they're kids. You can't call the cops on them. You can't sue them. You can't make them pay for it, because they probably only have like $2 and a couple of nickels to their names. And it's kind of a dick move to like go to the parents and ask them for money, when in reality, the parents should offer to pay. Okay, so like, for example, because I'm an amazing parent, if my son was in this guy's house and broke Tim's TV, I would offer to go buy him a new TV at Costco right on the spot. I would take responsibility. But as we know how people are today, nobody takes responsibility for anything. Okay, so let's look now through the point of view of the parents. So if you're a parent and you find that your kids, why did I say it like that? Your kids, if you find out that your kids are like rowdy, okay, and you want to avoid them going over and like racking up a bill of destroying your friend's stuff, go rent a cheap hotel room and just let them loose in the hotel room, right? And they can jump on stuff with their shoes. They can have the water flowing. They can run around like crazy. They can dirty the room. They can destroy the room. I think a lot of hotels offer like an insurance thing nowadays, and they will charge you for damages, but I don't think it's going to be as much as like your friends would charge you for damages for their stuff. So if you're a parent and your kid's rowdy, rent a hotel room. Let them get it out of their system before you go over to your friend's house. So I'll give you an example. If my son was rowdy and crazy, which he's not, he's a pretty awesome kid, but if he was, and my friend was like, come over to my expensive house for a barbecue, you can bring your son, I would go rent a hotel room, bring my son there, let him get it all out of his system and his energy and tire himself out destroying everything. I would say max 2 hours, and then go to your friend's place, or I guess go to my friend's place for the barbecue. Now he's dead tired, and he's already gotten it out of his system. Okay, all that rowdiness out of his system. So now he won't destroy your friend's stuff. So that's solution number one if you're a parent. Okay, and that's the thing too, like going back to what Timmy was saying. Timmy, you could also make this suggestion to the parents of the kids that are destroying your place. But now let's talk about what Timmy can do. So obviously you don't like getting yourself destroyed, your stuff destroyed. And I have this belief, nobody agrees with me on this, but I have this really strong belief I really do believe in an eye for an eye, which means if you destroy my TV, I should be able to go over to your place and destroy your TV to make it even, right? I think that's like a perfect justice system, okay? And I think if we really enforce that, I think we would lower a lot of crime, right? Because I just saw that video, because now I didn't know, I don't know if you guys know this, but I guess in the city of San Francisco, because, they're not letting cops actually do their jobs anymore. And it's really funny because the criminals, are like, oh, the cops aren't doing their jobs. Well, let's just be better criminals now. And I saw this guy rode in to a Walgreens in San Francisco, just loaded up a whole bunch of shit in a grocery bag, or I think it was a garbage bag, and just rode out. Nobody stopped him. Because I guess now they don't let the cops aren't allowed to prosecute minor shoplifting offenses. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how I understand it is. If you steal under like $900 worth of stuff or $1,000 worth of stuff, the cops can't prosecute you. So I guess the criminals, obviously they figured it out. And I'm like, oh, well, as long as I just don't steal over $1,000 worth of stuff, I could just take whatever the fuck I want. And this guy did. And the security guard, they just filmed him on their phones and just watched him Because even the security card, I guess, couldn't do anything because now we live in this like weird society where if you do try to stop a criminal from robbing you and you hurt them, I guess they're the victim now and they can sue you and you're bad. So that's the fucked up world we live in right now. I won't get into that tangent because this is, a political show, but watch Fox News. They kind of explain it better than I do. But getting back to the solution is that, yes, Timmy, if a kid breaks your TV, you should go over and break their TV. Now, you can't do that, obviously, because if you bust down the door and you break the TV, they'll probably call the cops on you because people are dicks like that. They call the cops over like the stupidest shit. So what you need to do is just go hire a child actor just to pretend to be your son for the day and then bring him over there and let him loose and let him just break the same stuff that their kids broke at your place. Boom, eye for an eye. Boom, loophole. He's a kid. You can't prosecute a 5-year-old, right? And also, it's a good life lesson, okay? Because I believe a lot of people, that are mean or do mean things, they should experience what they do to other people themselves. And it's a real eye-opener. And I think that's the solution here is how to survive your friend's kids destroying your place will make them experience that same awful thing. And I think that should open their eyes. Or do the hotel room thing. And I think that should work. Right? Right? Everybody's kind of like nodding their heads in the studio. I think they think that should work. So, guys, that's our show for today. We covered like a wide range of stuff. I think those were some good solutions. We touched on a few cultural things, I don't know. We got a little political. I'm not going to lie. I'm probably going to get a text message or a call for someone wanting me to run to be governor of California. Yeah, if you didn't know that, obviously we're having a governor recall, and there's like 50,000 people running for governor in the state of California. If you didn't know this, fun fact, if you want to run for governor in the state of California, there's just 2 qualifications. Number 1, live in California. Number 2, I think you just pay $4,000. And that's it. I legitimately think that's it. Like if you want to run for governor and get on the ballot, it's $4,000. You go to City Hall, you pay $4,000, you're on the ballot. I don't really know who's running. The only person I know who's running, and I don't know if this is sad or not, is that Mary Carey is running. And she's the porn star who ran back in 2003 when Arnold Schwarzenegger won and became governor of California. She also ran when she was like a young porn star. Very good looking porn star. And now I think she's like 40. I don't think she does porn anymore, but now she's like running for governor. And I'm not going to lie, I'd vote for her. Why not? I don't know. Makes sense, right? I mean, we've tried everything. We've had billionaires run for office. We've had all these people run for office. Why not throw a porn star in there? Let's see what they can do, I don't know. I think that'd be kind of exciting. You could make a reality show about that. Porn star politicians. Because I'm not going to lie, people will pay attention to what a porn star has to say. That also goes back to my theory we talked about in a previous episode of I think a lot of porn stars, after they're done doing porn, should become teachers because kids would obviously pay attention more to porn stars versus like a regular teacher. But whatever, that's the show. Remember, guys, if you ever want to be a guest on Nimble Urban Survivor, if you have a topic you'd like me to talk about, feel free to reach out to me via my website at www.catellicomedy.com. So again, thank you for tuning in. Have a great month, great day, great week, great year, great galaxy, great whatever. And I will talk to you guys later. And remember, stay safe.